The genesis of the organization for me, and the reason why I was compelled to partner up with Daryl and Letitia to start it is, really I would say goes back to an experience that I had with my own children. I have two young children. Their school was trying to address racism, and that's something that I supported. I liked the idea of a school addressing racism. I think racism is real. There are real issues with racism. There are real issues with anti-Semitism. There are real issues with all sorts of bigotry and intolerance. My own background, I have mixed ancestry. My father is Mexican, Native American ancestry. My mother is mostly Ashkenazi Jewish. But I grew up really seeing myself in a very positive way as mixed up. I was a mutt. And I kind of saw that as the direction that our country was heading, that we have people with very diverse backgrounds who have come together. And obviously racism is real. But it seemed like we were heading in a positive direction. But the approach that the school was taking was really to reinforce a very narrow racialized identity in the children in the school. And I just had questions. I wanted to understand, where was this coming from? Why was the school taking this approach? And was this approach going to be effective? Was this approach actually going to help children and help to end racism? And what I saw is that the approach that the school was taking was actually, in my view, creating more racism, creating more of a sense of a racialized identity in the children that may have been true at some point in history, but people like me who have mixed ancestry didn't really fit in at all to the racial framework that the school had rolled out. You were either Black or Hispanic or white or Asian American Pacific Islander. And as I started to understand these categories, and I understood that fewer and fewer people fit into these rigid categories, I just started to question, is this really the right approach? And I think in my search for answers, I met with a lot of different people, and one of the people that I met with was my friend Daryl Davis. Daryl and I spoke, and I still remember the conversation. And I was still trying to process what was going on with my kid's school. And I said, Daryl, my school is trying to be anti-racist, and I like the idea of being anti-racist, but it just doesn't feel like this is taking us in the right direction. And Daryl had a couple of comments. One was that he felt it was important not to be anti-racist, but to be anti-racism. Because if you're anti-racist, you're really targeting individuals. If you're anti-racism, you're really opposing some negative ideologies. And so I thought that makes sense. The second point that Daryl made was that it's really important to define yourself not by what you're against, but by what you're for. And so in that conversation, Daryl and I started to use the term pro-human, that it's important to not be anti-racist, but actually to be pro-human and to ultimately see ourselves and see each other as part of one human race. And also to respect and recognize the uniqueness of every person, right? Every person, what makes us interesting is that we are all unique individuals. We share 99.9% of our genes, but we only share 99.9%. There's still that distinction between every individual. In 1947, Martin Luther King, when he was a student at Morehouse College, wrote an op-ed in the student newspaper. And he wrote in that op-ed that intelligence and character, that is the goal of true education. This is somebody who in college, I think, recognized what's really a foundational truth, which is that intelligence is not enough. You need intelligence plus character. And the way that you overcome racism, the way that you overcome anti-Semitism, the way that you overcome all forms of bigotry is through education with character. And so the focus of the Prohuman Foundation is on really strengthening the character strengths that will ultimately lead to less racism, less anti-Semitism, less bigotry in the adults who come out of that educational system. Our focus is on character strengths like grit, gratitude, optimism, right, which help to create strong individuals, curiosity, courage, compassion, which help to build strong relationships, and fairness, understanding, and humanity, which help to create strong communities. Really, our focus is on improving character strengths as a way of addressing racism and anti-Semitism, and ultimately focusing on reinforcing the foundational truth that every person is a unique individual united by our shared humanity. We believe that's the way that you actually end racism.